Welcome to the Math Record. Today I'll be covering the ICTM Regional 2018 Division AA Freshman Sophomore 8-person. I'll be covering questions 7, 8, and 10 in this video. And then in the next video I'll be covering 16 and 20. So as usual, I'll go through all 20. Okay, so that's all 20. Now let's begin with number 7. 2 points are chosen on the circumference of a circle. Determine the probability that the chord connecting these 2 points is longer than the radius of the circle. So basically, I answered this question before, but I'll do it again in this video. So what we need to do is, let's label our center. And let's say one of our 2 points is fixed. So let's say it's right here, so it doesn't move. Connect those center and the point together. That gives us our radius r. Now if a chord is our same as our radius, then let's just draw somewhere like right here. And that's r. And let's connect these two final points together. This is also a radius, so that's r. So what this tells us is that this is equal to our triangle, so this is 60 degrees. Now, this is only for the right side. If we choose a point that's not on the right side, but now on the left, right? And this is this is length r, and this is also radius r. So that gives us this degree measure is also 60. So then basically what this tells us is that, let's say if we choose a point right here, then we make a length and then to the circle. This length is definitely less than our radius. So that tells us is that anything inside this range will be, the chord would be less than our radius. But let's say we choose a point outside. We could definitely see that the length of our chord is bigger than our radius. So we need to find the circumference of our, basically the boundary outside divided by the entire thing. So this is 60 plus 60, that's 120. So inside is 120. That means outside is 360 minus 120, which is 240, over the entire thing, which is 360, which simplifies to 2/3. And that is your answer for number 7. Okay, so you just need to draw a picture. Number 8. The positive difference between the square of two odd integers is divisible by n. Determine the largest possible integer n such that this statement is necessarily true. So basically, let's just define our integers. So let's say n is odd. So our first number would be n plus 2a, and our next number would be n plus 2b. Because if a and b are some kind of integers, any integer multiplied by 2, which is even, makes it even. And even plus an odd is odd. So these two are definitely odd. So then we have n plus 2a squared minus n plus 2b squared. And then n squared plus 4an plus 4b squared minus n squared minus 4bn minus 4b squared. And then we could write 4an, cancel out the n squares, right? So then an, and I'm going to put that with the 4bn. And then this is a squared. And then 4a squared minus a 4b squared, right? And then now we could distribute out 4n from these two terms, which give us a minus b. And then from here, we distribute out 4, and then a squared minus b squared. And a squared minus b squared is just a minus b and a plus b. So now we could factor out 4 in our a minus b, and that leaves us with the n plus a plus b. So I just did all this so we could simplify this thing into this. So what does that tell us? Well, let's move this up. So remember what we define our variables? N is odd. So let's try some combinations with a and b. Say they're either both even, they're both odd, or one of them is even and one of them is odd. It doesn't really matter. So if we have even minus even, that's even. And odd plus an even, that's odd. Now odd. So odd minus odd is even. Odd plus an odd, that's odd. Now even minus an odd, that's odd. Odd plus an even plus an odd, that is equal to even. So that basically tells us that they just kind of alternate between odd and even. So what's the smallest even? Well, that's 2, and there's still 4 here, so 2 times a 4, that's 8. So that is our largest possible divisor, which is also our largest possible answer. So so our answer for number 8 is 8, coincidentally. Okay, and number 10. In the diagram as shown, PQRS is a square and QAS is a quarter circle. with center at P. Point U is a midpoint of QR, and T lies on RS such that UT is tangent to QAS at A. TR over UR is KRW, and then find the sum of K over W. So let's draw a diagram. And we have some kind of really big circle. Okay, maybe that was a little bit too big. Okay, so something like that. Looks fine. Okay. And now we also have a point in this side, which is the midpoint. And then from that point, we have a line of tangent C. Okay. And here and here. So let's call this length R because that's our radius. So since this is the midpoint, we cut this in half. So this is 1/2 R and 1/2 R. And based on geometry, we have a external point that's tangent to the circle. So it tells us that these two lengths are the same because that's just one of the properties of basically these lines. So that's 1/2 R also. And now let's label this length as X. So that means this is radius R minus X because this has to be equal to our radius adding together. So we also have another tangent C with circles. So right here and here, right? So that gives us that this length is also R minus X. So we could use the Pythagorean theorem, would give us 1/2 R squared. 1/2 R squared plus X squared is equal to 1/2 R plus R is 3 over 2R minus X squared. Okay, so we just need to simplify this and find the relationship between X and R. And our question is asking K over W, which is TR over UR. TR is X, and UR is equal to 1/2 R. So once we find the relationship, we just plug into this. So let's delete this picture because we don't need it anymore. And we just need to find this by finding this. Okay. So let's distribute that out. So that's 1/2 squared is 1/4. That's R squared plus X squared equals 9/4 R squared minus 3RX plus RX squared. Cancel out our X squares. So 9/4 minus 1/4 is 8/4, which is 2R squared. And then that's minus 2RX equal to 0. Distribute out our R, which give us 2R minus 3X. So either our R is equal to 0 or our 2R minus 3X is equal to 0. So radius is definitely not going to be equal to 0. So that means 2R equals 3X. That means 2R divided by 3 is equal to our X. And now we can plug this back into this, would give us 2R over 3 divided by 1/2 R. So 2/3 minus 2/3 divided by 1/2 is 4/3. And then the R cancel each other out. So that means K over W is 4 to 3. That means adding them together, we get a sum of 7 for number 10. And that basically covers the first part of this contest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next math record.